Hello everyone and welcome to this new webinar session. Today we are going to talk about our Master in International Hospitality Business. We have a couple of guest speakers on the line with us, including our Program Director, Pretima Farrant. Hello Pretima, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Nice to see everybody. Welcome to everybody to this webinar. I will just give a very quick introduction to myself. My name is Pretima. I'm the Program Director for the Masters in International Hospitality Business. I'm based in Switzerland, but I work with the program teams both in London and also here in Switzerland. I come from a hospitality background myself. I've spent many years in the UK working for a number of companies within the travel industry, within sort of global sales roles. And I arrived here in Switzerland nearly 10 years ago, actually now, and my time has been spent working with a Swiss hospitality school previous to working at Glion. I worked for an education institute as well, and now I'm really happy to be here with the team working on this fabulous program, this master's program, and I look forward to sort of explaining a little bit more about it with the team for you in a second.
Thank you, Pretima. We also have Jacquie Lutz, Head of Career Internship, on the line with us. Hello, Jacquie.
Hi, Laurie. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming along and joining us today. We're really excited to be here with you. So my name is Jacquie Lutz. I'm Head of Career and Internship, and I've been working at Glion for a number of years now, taking care of career and internship, which has given me the chance not only to meet a lot of students who are now very successful, but also a lot of companies, a lot of recruiters, and to really build that network that we have here at Glion of recruiters. My background is in teaching and information, and yeah, I'm really enjoying the role here at Glion, where I get to meet many students and obviously give advice to many students, but also help them to make that contact with the industry.
Thank you, Jacquie. So Jacquie will come in second part of this presentation, and she will tell you more about how her team is supporting the students. We also have two students on the line with us today. Thomas from the London campus and Chi from the Bull campus. Hello, Thomas. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone. Yes, so my name is Thomas. I'm currently a student ambassador from Glion, London. I'm in semester 2 and I'm in remote from France, unfortunately, but it's still fine.
Thank you, Thomas. Chi, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everybody. My name is Chi Chola. I'm also a semester 2, but I'm on the Bull campus. I'm from Zambia and Zimbabwe, and we're also doing remote, but I have the opportunity to be on campus physically.
Thank you. So before I hand over to Pretima to start talking about the program, so today you won't be able to use your microphone. You can ask your question via the chat box. It should be at the top of your screen. We will do the presentation first for about 30-35 minutes, and then we will go on to the Q&A. So you can ask your question at any time, but we will answer all of them at the end. So without further delay, Pretima, I hand over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so for the introduction of our programs here. So Switzerland is known as the home of hospitality, so renowned for tourism and quality products. You're probably aware that we have a lot of watch companies that are based here in Switzerland, so it's all about precision as well. But we're very proud of this, and we're proud to say that with hospitality that this is where it grew from, and it's grown further as well. So also Switzerland is very well known for the culture of business and innovation. You will find that actually it's ranked very high, normally actually ranked as #1 in the world for innovation as well. And this all brings together everything that we feed through into our programs as well. So from a hospitality, quality and an innovation perspective. You will find in Switzerland as well, we have, especially in the region that we're here, the picture at the top here actually shows you our Glion campus. So this is overlooking Lake Geneva. You have obviously a beautiful view over the mountains and over the lake. So that's one of our campuses there. This master's program is actually based in our Bull campus in Switzerland. We'll come on to London shortly. So the picture at the bottom shows you the campus in Bull. So this is where we are based. The two campuses are about 40 minutes apart, so you do as a student get the opportunity to visit both as well. But also in this region as well, and in Switzerland, you'll find there's a lot of headquarters for multinational companies, companies like Nestle, Richemont, which is the luxury goods group, pharmaceuticals like Novartis, Roche, Philip Morris, which is the cigarette company. And the reason why I mention this is because alongside all the hospitality careers that our students go on to, these are also companies where students are now finding internships and jobs that we will talk about a little bit later on as well. Now, before we move on to London, I know Chi, as she mentioned here, based in Buell. Chi, how is life here as a student in Buell?
I think, as Pretima said, we have two campuses and we actually have a lot of opportunities to visit the other campus. Buell is more of a city than Glion is, because Glion is up on the hill. So we get a little bit more access to like the coffee shops. And of course, given that we're in a COVID pandemic right now, not everything is open, but we did had the opportunity to start off where things were open. So there was a lot more life, but we are fortunate enough, as I mentioned before, that people still are on campus. So all of our academic buildings are open, all of our restaurants are open, so it gives a lot of opportunity for students to interact. So that's still very nice. There's still opportunities to have that facial contact, of course, adhering to all the rules. So I would say that it's the best of both worlds, especially since the Glion campus has two of the really like most amazing restaurants. So we get to dress up a little even in these COVID times and go have dinner at the Bellevue, which is really nice.
Thank you. And in fact, I was in the mountains on Saturday in a ski resort that you may know called Verbier, and happened to bump into many of our Glion students, especially my master's students. So thank you, Chi. So that's Switzerland. Moving on to London. Now London, the next slide, thank you. So we'll come to Thomas shortly, because Thomas is actually based, his program is based in the London campus. So obviously London is an international hospitality hub, also known very much for the financial district as well. Now, if you're actually studying the program in London, you are fully immersed in the English language as well. Thomas, give us a little bit of how it was when you were back in London. How was life? Because you did experience at the beginning of your program.
Yeah. So at the beginning of my studies, I was directly on the campus of London. We are very close to the city center of London. For example, Piccadilly Circus, around 30 minutes, I would say, by train or bus. We share around all the facilities and services with the University of Southampton, which is a huge university, and we share, for example, for the sports field, the football field, the tennis fields, and we have also a golf center just next to our university. About the campus directly, you have the building where you will study at, I would say, 50 meters from your flat, and in your building you would share, if you choose a room on the campus, you will share only the living room and the kitchen with your classmates. And actually, I know that I have some classmates on the campus and ready to start again on class directly. But actually, as I said, I'm in remote learning, and I would say that on the London campus, you have also everything you need to succeed in your studies.
Thank you, Thomas. Okay, well, we'll be coming back to both Chi and Thomas for a little bit more of their life and academic studies as well.
Yeah.
So if we look at the actual overall program, so who is this program actually designed for? Starting off with, firstly, there's students that have either studied or worked within the hospitality industry. They really get a flavour for it. They love the industry, and now they want to further develop that within their studies. Now, with this program, it is a master's program, and what we do like to emphasise here, as I mentioned before, that these positions are not exclusively within hotels. I'm sure Jackie will cover that a little bit later on when we talk about internships and jobs as well. I just mentioned some of the companies, that students are also finding jobs in. So it's much further afield than just going to work within a hotel. So some of our students, I would say actually at the moment, the sort of take up is pretty much half and half. We have half of the students are coming from a hospitality background. But on the other hand, we do so have students that what we have called complete career changes. Now, Chi, I know you came from, you studied, we were talking about the other day, Economics, yes. So she came from a different background, studying economics, but what's important to say is that that's absolutely fine. And in fact, having that mixture of the students on the cohort complements the actual learning and the experience as well. So whether you come from hospitality, whether you are making a complete career change, that is absolutely fine for the master's program. And we very much welcome and encourage that. What we are actually doing within this program is, well, we said, as we mentioned, there's no previous experience or studies in hospitality required, but at this master's level, what we are really doing is developing the competencies and knowledge for students that are going into managerial positions within the industry. What we are doing here is we are working with, we see them as the future leaders within the industry. We also work with advisory groups within the industry that come to us and say, this is what we're looking for in the future. These are the competencies that we wish to develop. These are the kind of employees that we want within our industry. So we work very closely in understanding what are the trends, what are the changes, and ensuring that this is fed through into the programs themselves. What we do ask for is for everybody that comes to us, and we see this, is for students to come to us with a service mindset. They want to be here. They want a desire to exceed expectations. They like to be with people, and it's an exciting industry. I've met students that come from, for example, accounting backgrounds, and they said, you know, I was really kind of quite lost sitting behind a desk, you know, and it wasn't for me. And they come into this program, and after, when they finished, you see them change their personality and they found their passion. So that's one of the most important things, is having that service mindset. Thanks, Laurie. We just go on to the next one. Okay, so if we look at the actual degrees before we look at them, just to give you very much a holistic picture before we look at in detail. So the degrees, the program that we set here. So what are the sort of opportunities? What do we feed through into the program itself? It's the opportunity for you as a student to connect with industry leaders. Again, Jackie will talk about this a bit later, how Glion, we have such a fantastic network of companies within hospitality and also emerging now, who we worked with for years. So whether it's through internships or whether it's through field trips, that we have these opportunities for you to have connections with these industry leaders. You will very often find that in some of the courses, the faculty members will bring in guest speakers, you know, to complement sort of the classes that they're delivering. Just a couple of semesters ago, we actually had the opportunity to have Alain Ducasse from the ECAS, as we have the connection with the school, and he was here to actually meet with our students as well. So to be able to, you know, give his story of how, you know, his career developed as well. Our faculty members, we'll look a little bit later at the detail of who they are and where their backgrounds, but they are academics, but they are also experts in their field as well. So when we're looking at, you know, the knowledge that you gain as a student, it's in a range of specialist fields. So again, we will look at the few of the courses, but whether it's something like revenue management, whether it's something like digital transformation, whether it's something like leadership, what we are doing is we are bringing these specialists to be able to work with you on sharing this knowledge, you know, on getting you to develop in these areas. In the courses itself, what you will find is, as a student, we at master's level, we are really developing you to push you out of your comfort zone. So it's developing your critical thinking, your research, your writing skills, to really help you to think outside of the box. Chi, I don't know if you have an example of something where you felt that, you know, that's really has an assessment or a course or a faculty member that's really pushed you out of your comfort zone over the past year.
Yeah, I think, for example, last semester we had a class called International Marketing for the Service Industry, and that our end project was to come up with a COVID relief plan for hotels, a specific hotel that's already existing, on how they can come back from the COVID pandemic. And we had to reach out to different people from those hotels and get that out of class experience and go above and beyond the classwork and the coursework and the theory work, which was really great because we got to talk with different industry professionals and say, well, how are you handling the pandemic, and how can I come from a master's program, but also looking as from a consulting point of view, give you some pointers of what I've learned theory-wise. So that was really, really interesting.
Thank you, Chi. Okay. And on the final point here, it's immersing you within the courses, as we said, with our expert faculty, but they are the ones that have the connections as well. So we're really taking you behind the scenes, whether it's with 5-star luxury brands, whether it's different hotel chains, whether it's you know, companies within different industries as well. And that's what you actually part of your experiences within the degrees overall. Looking at the Masters in International Hospitality Business, a little bit more detail. Yes, thank you. So that's the next slide. So let's have a look at the actual structure, which, you know, in terms of a student who comes to study with us, what does their academic studies look like with us? So the duration of the Masters in total is 1.5 years. We have, I'll come to the actual study part in a second, but actually you will see at the beginning of the diagram here, we have what we call the Hospitality Immersion Program. Now, earlier on I mentioned that this master program can be for students that come from a complete career change. And if that's the background that you're coming from, what we do is strongly recommend for you to take what we call the Hospitality Immersion Program, which is 4 weeks in total, and it's taken before the start of the Masters. Chi has actually done this program, so she'll give you a very quick snapshot of what that program looks like.
Yeah, so this program is a 4-week program. It's an accelerated program, and we get to have the opportunity to work in the food and beverage sector, the wine universe, the housekeeping, and the front office. But as Pretima mentioned, it's usually for career changers like myself, but we actually had a lot of people who come from a hospitality background who just want to get to know the program and also Glion's take of hospitality. And we get to do it on the Glion campus, so you're not just on the Bull campus, so you get at least a month there, which is really nice. And so it's an accelerated program. You get actual work done, and you get to actually serve proper clientele, so that's very exciting. You're either in our Fresh restaurant or the Bellevue restaurant, and we get to work with our different program heads, and then at the end of it we have a reflection and a celebration, and it goes by really quick, but it's a really awesome crash course to also get to know other people and introduce yourself to the hospitality industry.
Thank you, Chi. And the feedback I hear and see when students arrive here in Buell is they've absolutely loved this program as well. So yes, recommended for definitely for students from a career change, but as some people may want to brush up skills as well, that they can also take it. So the actual courses that the program itself that's delivered, you can see there is semester 1 and semester 2. So whether you take the program in the UK, you will be based in London for your 2 semesters, and if you choose to come to Switzerland, you will be based with us here in Buell. For both semesters, your academic studies are with us, with the team. As you hear from the students, they are remote at the moment, but Thomas is back in France and Chi is actually here with us in Buell. During these 2 semesters, we'll have a look at a few of the courses in a second, but there's a number of different things that are built into the program. One of them is the business field trip, which we'll talk about shortly. There's things like the hospitality networking event, which we've just actually brought into play this year. There is also a mentoring program that's now running for all our students who join the master's program. So apart from the academic studies, there's a whole host of things that are built into the overall 2 semesters whilst you're with us. In semester 3, this is when you actually leave us and go off campus, and this is where you have the opportunity to choose. So whether it's what we call a business research project, which is almost like best known probably as a dissertation. So this is taken as a topic of your choice. And during this time, you will be allocated a tutor from the faculty team. This tutor will meet with you on a regular basis to give you feedback on your topic, on how your progress. They will look at your draft copies right up until the point that you actually make your final submission. So that's one choice, is the business research project. The other option you have, and I think very, very popular, is the internship option, which Jackie will cover for you shortly. And the opportunity to be able to take an internship for 24 weeks. I won't cover in much, because I know Jackie will talk about that. So after the 1.5 years, that's when you complete your full degree. I think what's important to say that in your 3rd semester, although you're not with us physically here on campus, we are still with you. So whether that's the business research project, the tutor that is working with you, whether it's Jacquie's team, where they have a dedicated manager for the master's team, or whether it's the program team, we are here with you, following you all the way through your journey to help you successfully achieve that master's degree. So that's what the duration is, 1.5 years. I think the next slide then is just going to give you a little bit more detail. So as we mentioned here, you will notice now here there's 2 semesters. So this is what I've just talked about. So this is where you are with us on campus, and these are where you have a variety of different courses. I won't go through them all in detail, but just some of the courses that we have, just to give you a bit of a flavour. Things like marketing, accounting, revenue management. We just actually have a new faculty member that's come on board, whose background is from Accor, and he's actually come from a training background. So he was working for Accor with the designing the training programs for revenue management. And what the element he's brought in is that students are really loving is sort of a whole gamification. They're really highly engaged with it. So we have, as you can see, a variety of different subjects: leadership, intercultural management, which is very important, especially for the environment that we work in at Glion, which is so global. Going into semester 2, there's a couple of new courses that we've just introduced, so coming into play this year. One of them is a corporate sustainability program. I think very important nowadays, especially for the way the industry is going, and also for students, it's very much close to their heart. We've got something about brand management, where we've got somebody looking at marketing strategies, brand ambassadors, a very exciting course there. Another one is around food retail entrepreneurship. So it's about how you look beyond a hotel and a restaurant. So food retail now is a revenue generator, and it comes, especially now with the disruption that we found as a result of COVID as well. It's about how different business models have changed. And we have a faculty member that's bringing a very interesting element here, where he uses a case study of a microbrewery. So it's really going beyond that, it's not just about a hotel and a restaurant, and that's where the F&B, comes from. It's going beyond that. So that's a couple of, touching on a few of the courses there. As we said, semester 3 is where you take the choice of the internship or the business research project. And then just going on to the next slide. Okay. Now, we mentioned there the field trip, always an exciting element of the semester, well, of the program for students. We've hosted a couple of different field trips that I can actually share with you. Back in January last year, we were able to take a field trip out on what we call it was an MSC cruise ship, which had 4,500 passengers on it. So we were able to visit a number of destinations, which you can see there in Italy, Malta, Spain, France. Now, the idea of the field trip, there is an academic element to it. We focus very much about what students are learning through their academic studies and putting it and seeing it in practice. We focus it around service excellence. So there's a number of different visits that we hosted. For example, in Malta, at this point, we were able to visit one of the IHG hotels. And there the general manager was able to do a really nice discussion of sort of how his career developed. He's actually a Glion alumni, and how, how the operations run in this particular hotel. On board the ship, what was very interesting is that when you have an operation of 4,500 people, you can imagine the scale of, the operations there. So there we were able to have a session with the director of operations and entertainment. And he talked about everything from how do you motivate staff? You've got staff on board this ship that are floating around for 4 to 5 months, how it's a very different aspect to having employees in a hotel. So these are some of the things that we can bring into field trips. I just recently did one in February where because of the COVID situation, we weren't able to go outside of Switzerland, but we had a trip in Switzerland where we were able to go to Zermatt, which is a very well-known ski resort, and to look behind the tourism industry there. And alongside that, we had a visit to a hotel, very nice hotel in Zurich, called the Dol de Gran, And also one of the highlights of that trip was visiting what we call the Birkenstock resorts. It's one of the most prestigious resorts in Switzerland. And there we were able to have a session with the director of sales, who was able to explain sort of, how they work with their clients and how that's really changed with the COVID situation as well. So that's a couple of the sort of highlights of things that we've been doing, but it's always, as I said, academic element, but with some real, some visits and some real energy and fun behind it as well. Moving on to I think there's a, yes, okay, so moving on to our faculty team. I think I mentioned something very briefly about them, how our faculty team, they are experts in their field. They come from a mixture of an academic and also an industry background. Thomas, maybe you would just like to share with us one of your faculty members that you've worked with in one of the courses whilst you've been with us.
Yeah, from these examples, I know Mr. Hayward. This is our revenue management teacher, and also digital distribution. He's also the owner of a consultancy firm named Hayward Solutions. So every time in our classes, we have a lot of practical examples when we used to have some exercise.
Okay, thank you. Chi, and I'm sure you have a lot of great faculty members that you've worked with, but if you could maybe just speak about one of the faculty members from our team here in Switzerland.
Yeah, Mr. Senior, who was our International Hospitality and Service Marketing professor, really enjoyed his class. Obviously, marketing is always one of those classes most people do enjoy, but it was really discussion-based, especially given that we had to move online. So we had him in class, then online, and the energy was kept up, and everything was really relatable and practical experience, which I thought was really great. And it gave a different kind of perspective on marketing. So it was definitely one of my favorite courses.
And I actually know that Dr. Senior, he started as a chef, as a career, that was his career. In the UK, he actually owned a jazz bar at one point, and then eventually started studying. He actually got a PhD in marketing, and then now has been teaching at Glion for many years. So it's just bringing that mix, as we said, of academic and industry experience to life. Okay, I think there's probably just one more thing that I'd, yes, okay, so that's what I've done here, is just giving you a little bit of flavour about how we structure our programmes, a little bit of, as a student, what to expect. What I would like to do here is just summarise for you as a student coming to us, what are the benefits of this particular master's programme. What we bring, as we said, and I think I've said this through the experience of our faculty, it's real world management experience. And we do this through a variety of ways, whether it's through a business field trip, whether it's through a research project. It's very much about, I mean, when I speak to students as well, they say, look, I've been to university and I had the theoretical aspect, but what I really want is the practical as well. And that's very much how, we structure our master programs. In terms of the teaching and learning techniques, they're very different for each program. As I mentioned earlier, in revenue management, they're using a very different technique in terms of gamification. So it depends on the course. But what you will find is that, and what we see is the transformation in students. I've had students that have come at the beginning of the semester, and to the end, you notice such a difference for them professionally and personally as well. And I always remember the story where a student came to me and he said, I came here to Glion, I got the knowledge, and he said, but I just did not expect this transformation in myself. I'm still trying to understand how the faculty do this. But you see it, and I'm sure Jackie will talk about this a little bit later as well, about how students come to us and they really leave, they're confident, and they've had that transformative experience overall. A couple of last points here then. In terms of a personalised approach, at Glion, we are a boutique school. We have small classes, and what you really get here is the one-to-one attention, whether that's from the internship team, whether that's from your faculty team, whether that's from the programme team. We know you when you come in. We know what your objectives are. We know where you're heading. And we're with you. You're not a number to us. You're a student. We know your journey, and and that's what we actually we enjoy it. That makes my job enjoyable as well. So it's very much a personalised approach, especially in the classroom as well. And last of all, as I mentioned here, is about developing future leaders within the industry. And part of the programme is, yes, it's about the theory and it is about that knowledge, but also what we do is we really develop on the soft skills, you know, and building and developing that, and that's all part of the overall experience that you get as a student with us. So I think that's pretty much a summary for me for the moment, and I think Laurie, were you going to just take over? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Pretima. Very briefly before we move on to career and internship. So you've heard Thomas is studying from France remotely and is usually based in London. She is based on campus but still studying remotely. So we do hope that all of our students will be back on campus next September. Obviously, we do offer flexible learning. So if you want to start your semester or your studies next September, and for any reason you can't travel to the campus, you have different options. So you can either, if you can travel to the campus, that's great. We really welcome you and you can spend the whole semester, the full semester on campus. If you cannot travel on time, you can start your semester remotely and then join us a little bit later. And if for any reason, because of the restriction, you can't come at all, you can also spend the full semester online. So we are fully flexible. We use the iFlex model. So no matter what your study mode is, you won't miss out on anything. And now let's move on to career and internship.
Thank you, Laurie, and thank you, Pretima, for that really detailed description of your course. I don't really know how to follow you after that. You've said a lot of things that I'm going to say, so I better get on with it. So I think it's Pretima did mention, and this is my starting point, is the personalized service. This you can see in terms of the academic program, but I think in particular also in terms of career and internship. You will have gathered from Pretima's presentation that the study program is very detailed and there's a lot going on. And the whole point of that is to get you out into the industry as future leaders, as she pointed out. Now, we in the internship department are your kind of liaison with that world, the professional world from the academic world. So we bridge that gap. And as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, we have over the years really developed a huge network of professional contacts, and we have great contacts in the industry, and these partners are looking to Glion to provide their future leaders, and particularly even at the moment, I think there are many doubts in people's minds about the future of hospitality, but let me say that we are hearing companies are recruiting later this year, hotels are opening, new hotels are opening, and all these hotels, I have a couple of companies in mind who are opening 4 or 5 hotels this year each, plus they're planned in the pipeline for 2022, 2023, 2024. All these companies, all these hotels, they are going to need leaders. And these top quality hotels, they look for consistency and they look for real quality in their leadership. So the jobs will be out there for you when you've finished, believe me. Okay, if I can then talk a little bit more about the department. So here you can see a selection of some of the members of the department. We cover all 3 campuses. We're actually based either in Bulle or in Glion, but we take care exactly the same way of our London students, particularly given that now many practices have moved online. Counselling is online. We'll come to that again in a moment. So a really personalised service, and you will have an advisor who is personal to you. In fact, we have one of our team who is specifically devoted to master students. She is one of our most experienced advisors, and the fact that she deals only with you guys is she's able to specialize really in what you need and what the industry needs, and kind of relay that to you. So really good to get to know her, and believe me, you won't have the choice because she will be presenting to you, she will be contacting you. We really do develop this relationship, this personal relationship with each student in order to get to know what you want. And I think Pretima has also said this, you come from such diverse backgrounds that it's really imperative for us to know you personally in order to be able to advise you to the best. What Thomas is looking for is completely different to what she is looking for. For example, they have different backgrounds, they have different outlooks, they have different ambitions, and this is not just a bachelor program where everyone is fresh out of school. We're talking about individuals who have very different backgrounds, and we're very aware of that, and we want to be able to guide you to the best of our possibilities. Shall we move to the next slide? So as I mentioned, very much online right now, and I think you've got this message throughout the program, is that whether you're online or on campus, the guidance and the way we follow you and the way we work with you is very similar. I think we've all had to move out of our comfort zones in terms of online. This year, I can see our two students here nodding. They have had to, and certainly Pretima and I, who are not students any longer, we have had to move out of that comfort zone of always having people face to face. It's not that difficult, it's just a hurdle to go through. And I think we're all there, very much at ease giving you this presentation today, whereas normally we would hope to give you these kind of presentations very much face to face. Online, and everything is moving online. So whether you're here in the office, in the school, as Chi is, and if she were to come to the office this afternoon, I would welcome her into my office as long as we're both wearing masks and we have the protective measures in place. Our open door policy is still there, so very much face-to-face contact. But if that's not possible, and with Thomas, you know, it would be very easy for him to just click onto our portal, our online job platform, where he can connect very easily or by email with his advisor and say, I need an interview, I need a discussion with you, can we have a chat? So very much personalized support. This goes for the main tasks of our department with you, which are initially in your first semester, CV preparation, motivation letter writing, interview techniques, how to get in contact with the industry, how to use our portal and our resources that are available for you. We've now been giving these, I think maybe you guys, you had those face-to-face when you first started. Now they are online, they're all recorded, and they're all available to you throughout the semester. So you can really have those PowerPoints and go back and see those, the techniques, particularly when it comes to something like motivation letter writing, where there's a lot of information comes to you, but you sometimes don't need it straight away, or interview techniques as well. Where you might want to brush up before a specific interview. So everything online for you. We also talk about your LinkedIn profile, your whole online profile, which is nowadays really, really important. And we do all our workshops and all our discussions online, and as I've said, face-to-face whenever possible. Our online job platform is a specific to Glion students, so it's a dedicated portal with 3 interfaces, so the school, the students, and all the companies that we work with. We have currently 4,500 contacts on that portal, and these are the contact details of the specific HR managers, directors, as well as the job opportunities that they are posting for you guys. So not all of them will be for you, obviously, they're covering the whole school, so some of them may be first internship for bachelors, but there is the whole panoply and a distribution of different offers for all the different types of students that we have on campus. Everyone finds his or her slot and his or her happiness within there somewhere. This is also the way to book an appointment with your advisor, and we also have a library of documents on there that you can refer to, either being our presentations or some guidelines for writing motivation letters, etc. So all your CVs will also be on there. You have your own profile and your own documents within your section on your page. So recruiters can actually find you by clicking in a few words, specific words of their search criteria. Maybe, I don't know, let's say off the top of my head, they want a Portuguese-speaking marketing specialist. So they will put marketing and Portuguese. And if these are words that figure in your CV will come up for them as a selection of choices. And they may even contact you directly following that. So all the CVs on the portal are directly approved by our department first. We know how easy it is for little mistakes to come in, and some people who are not necessarily English mother tongue, writing CVs in another language is quite challenging. Our aim is that you should have a perfect CV, or as near to perfect as possible. I'm sure nobody will disagree with me. This is one of the best ways to get noticed, and to get noticed for the wrong reason will mean that your CV goes straight into the trash. Okay, so that is the whole point of getting your CVs absolutely up to scratch and out there. Online Recruitment Day, we have for many years now been running events where we bring companies onto the campus, so up to 100 companies in one day, once a semester. So for every student, they will have in the master's program 2 possibilities to attend this event. However, as most large events, this has now had to move online. Our first online recruitment day was in November of last year, and I think both of our students present today, Chi and Thomas, you both attended that event. Can you perhaps, maybe you give some insight into that online event? Chi, how about you? How did you find it?
Sure. Yes. So as a semester 1, obviously, we weren't the ones who were immediately looking for jobs. So it was a nice trial run for us. And because ours is coming up in 2 weeks, so we're ready for that now. It's definitely non-traditional, but there's so many companies, and there's such a diverse group of companies, and there's a lot of representatives also that come from the different companies. So you definitely do get a chance to talk to different representatives, and it's a different way. I know personally from personal experience, having worked before coming from my master's, the interview process can be a little scary, especially face-to-face. So it also takes a little bit of that anxiety away for some students, which I think is very beneficial. And I think anything, as Ms. Lutz said, it's possible, everything's online now, so it still feels like a proper recruiting event, which I think is really great.
Thomas, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I fully agree with Chi, and also I want to add something about, like, we were in the first semester, and it was not really our goal to find an internship, but it was a very good way to connect with some professional in hospitality, and it was very nice to connect with many people, and we will be very interested by them also in the future. So it was nice.
And Thomas, you raised a really important point there, which is the networking aspect of this event. We have next, as you said, it's in 2 weeks' time. We have 90 companies coming on campus, and they are, well, coming to our event. They will each have their booth, and the students the event is open from 8 to 8, so a 12-hour consecutive long event in order to cover all the different time zones where some of our students are right now. And you can go into the different booths and chat, have video chats, have typed conversations. They can see your CV, they have offers. Yes, they do have offers this time, so, and you two will be very eligible for them. We like to keep the offers for the people who are eligible, which is your case this time. And I think, as you said, Chi, the first time round is great to practice, and also to start building that really important network. Networking is very, very important, and we take this as an occasion for you to meet with some of the top HR managers in the industry to learn about the different companies that you maybe didn't know about before as well. So as I say, 90 companies will be present, and we plan, who knows, will we go back to a face-to-face event? I don't know. We're watching to see what's going on with the situation. Maybe we'll go back to face-to-face, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll have a hybrid for November or October of November next year. We will see, that remains to be seen. So we move to the next slide. So I've already touched on this, it's our Career and Internship portal, and again, this is something you will have on your laptop, on your desktop, and you can also have it in app form on your phone. So it's you can type in also your own criteria of search if you're particularly interested, I don't know, in Ritz-Carlton or marketing, as I believe you are, Chi, you can put in some keywords, and when posts that correspond to that or your criteria come up, you will get a little push notification, and you might be on the train having lunch with your mum and dad, and all of a sudden you'll say, oh, my dream job has come up. I just click on apply and my CV is sent. So really handy, really practical, and easy to use for students, and easy to use for companies actually, and companies, new companies registering every day. And I think, as Pretima pointed out, it's not only hospitality companies that we have on our portal and coming to our events even. We have a lot of new companies who they're realizing that actually the skills picked up and learnt at a hospitality school are really important for their own businesses, whatever those businesses are. They might be finance, they might be events, they might be retail, they might be luxury based. What companies are realizing is that how they can give great customer satisfaction, this is what companies all want, right? They want customer satisfaction and customer retention, is to give amazing customer service. And this is what the students in Glion will all learn. And as Pretima said, we don't know how the students get transformed from beginning to end, but I totally agree with her, they do. I think it's not only the actual teaching, I think it's to do with the atmosphere on campus. I think you will realize that we have a dress code, we have a conduct code, which really infiltrates the students and the staff, and we all have this very, we learn these professional skills, these soft skills, which are so important these days, and once you've got them, they become part of your DNA, and this is something that is really, really sought after by numerous companies, and as Pretima said, not only hospitality companies. So a lot of opportunities out there in all different walks of life, which means that the skills you will be learning at Glion really do set you up for not only an international career, but a career that could take you into many different industries. Next slide. Laurie, thank you. So let's look at some facts about internship, okay? 2019, and as I've said, company visits on campus, over 250. This does include our London campus as well, or those recruitment events, which are the main events where companies will be on campus. We do have some who came individually, and even now we have some companies who are wanting to give individual presentations. Last week we had Mandarin Oriental here with us online, with some alumni from our school who are working with the company, who were telling us about the amazing future opportunities with Mandarin Oriental. And this is one of the reasons I can say to you, in total honesty, there will be jobs because there will be new hotels and hospitality will be bouncing back. The number of offers you can see here, these are the numbers that are appearing on our portal. This averages out at 7.7, well, 7.7 offers per student. I wouldn't categorically say every student will receive 7.7 offers. I think this is an average of averaging out the number of offers that we receive. But I think if you can see that 876 students during 19 were out on internship in 58 different countries, I think you can see the totally international aspect of our internship program and the opportunities that will be available to you as an internship seeker for your third semester. Next slide. Thank you. So looking at some all-important job examples, as I think this is what's obviously very important to you coming in, why you would be doing these studies, why you would be doing hospitality studies, is in order to obviously find a job either within the hospitality industry or within a related sector. Depending on what your background is, what your prior experience is, you may expect to move into an assistant manager role immediately on graduation, or some other supervisory function, or you may choose, and if you don't have hospitality experience, I would really recommend operational experience. Future managers, whatever sector they're in, and I think particularly in hospitality, should have an operational background, because if you're managing people in operations, you need to know what you're talking about, you need to know what those people are doing, and it's really important to have a well-rounded foundation from which to build your managerial skills, and you get a lot more credibility if you have that background in operations. So really, really important for us to have you, and we will advise you this way, to do something operational. I think the advantage that we see with Glion students moving into an operational role to start with is not that they are doing operations, but they are very quickly progressing on an upward curve into something else managerial. So you would possibly start in that kind of sector, but you would not expect to stay there for very long. And I think long enough to get that experience that you need in order to be a credible manager. And in fact, most general managers who I talk to, who come on our campus, who interview our students, and who talk to our students, they have come from operations. This is where managers are coming from. And again, it's a solid background. You cannot just walk out of studies to be a hotel manager. It doesn't work like that. You will fall flat on your face. And this is not what we prepare you for. We prepare you for the reality of the world. Yes, we expect that you will grow very quickly, but we want you to take it step by step. And I think if you look at and these are actual positions that our students have been going into out of Glion: guest relation agent, assistant manager in F&B, human resources assistant, events coordinator, sales and marketing coordinator. So you can see the different aspects of hospitality within those roles and within the different companies that I mentioned. And this is obviously just a very small selection of the hospitality. On the other side, you can see what some of our luxury retail students are going into. I wouldn't actually split them totally and say these are not open to you. These are open to you as well. If you have the profile and you are selected, why not? All our opportunities are available for everyone, and it's going to depend on your relation with the company as to who is chosen. So a few more job examples in innovation and finance for you to just look through. These are obviously, we have 4 master programs here at Glion. Today we're talking specifically about international hospitality business, but the other masters we have are in innovation and entrepreneurship and finance and real estate. And this is where our students are going. If you take a look at those, and see what your colleagues will be hopefully doing, and who knows, maybe you as well. We're really proud of the fact that this year, despite COVID and all the problems around that and issues around that pandemic, that we went back to number 2 for employer reputation in the QS World Rankings. And this is partly due to our reputation with, this is our reputation with employers, and that reputation is reflected by the fact that we have such great figures in terms of employability. 98% of our job-seeking students are finding themselves with 1 or more job offers on the day of graduation. I hasten to add these figures are for 2019, and we do not have yet our 2020 figures. To be perfectly honest, it's not likely to be quite the same. The situation is totally different out there in the world, but this has been the case for many years preceding 2019, and this is what we're aiming to obviously go back to very shortly.
Thank you, Jacquie. I won't go into details regarding the admission process. So you have the entry requirement on your screen. You might already be in touch with one of our counselors. If that's not the case and you would like more information regarding the entry requirement, I invite you to go onto our website and you can fill a contact form or download the brochure, and someone will be in touch. So let's move on to the Q&A. I already received quite a few questions. A lot of questions for Jacquie. So Jacquie, what is the current situation regarding the internship? We know it's quite a hard time for the hospitality industry. Can you please?
It is a hard time. It is a hard time, Laurie, but what we're seeing is very definitely it's on its way back. Okay, I'm not going to be over optimistic. I'm not going to say, we're back to normal or as we were before, but every day we're seeing offers coming in. Every day we're seeing, I've had one this morning, Jumeirah in Dubai. We're looking for interns for August. I've already mentioned a couple of companies who are very definitely opening new properties. In fact, Mandarin Oriental opened this week in Madrid. And interestingly enough, Rosewood is also opening in Madrid this year. It's one of their 5 companies, 5 new hotels opening for Rosewood this year, with a number more in the pipeline. So I think, yes, it's been a difficult time. There's no denying that. And I'm not going to tell you the opposite. But we are making allowances for our students. We've been dealing on an absolutely case by case with them and assisting them as best we can, and the jobs are coming back.
Thank you. Some more question for you. Are the internships paid or unpaid?
Well, this really depends on the country that they're in and often the company. In Switzerland, for example, there's a general collective contract with the hospitality industry, the governing body of hospitality, that all internships are paid a minimum fixed amount, and that is 2,270, 50 something Swiss francs. So that is for Switzerland. In France, there is also a minimum. It's a third of the SMIC, if we have any French students among us. In Thailand, there is no fixed. But in Thailand, you're likely to receive your board, your lodging, and some, they call it a stipend of a small amount. So you will get something. We're very much believers in you don't have to work for free. When companies come and say, well, what do I have to pay? We do encourage them strongly to pay, but in some countries that is not the law. However, as I say, in many cases there will be something replacing that. For example, in Dubai, you won't be paid very much. However, you get accommodation, you get food, you get no tax, you get flights paid, you get travel between your lodging and your hotel. So there are a lot of kind of other things that you would have to pay for otherwise. So while I say in Switzerland, you're paid quite a nice amount, actually. Think of the living costs in Switzerland, think of the insurance costs, think of the tax costs. It works out very much the same.
Thank you, Jacquie. Another question for you. Can the last semester be a full-time job instead of an internship?
Absolutely, absolutely it can. This is not COVID related. This is at any time. You can go into a job or a management training position, which the first 6 months of which would count as an internship. Absolutely. All we would ask for is from your employer an evaluation at the end of the 24 weeks in order that we can validate your internship, and you would then just carry on in your job.
Can I work in Switzerland while studying?
Oh, this is a tricky one. This depends on your nationality. If for non-Europeans, there is no possibility, I believe, and for Europeans, there are a few hours that you can do. This is laid down by law. This is nothing to do with Switzerland. It's related to your B permit and to your nationality.
Thank you, Jacquie. So I'm going through the many questions. We might have to run over today if the panel is happy with that. So I have some questions for Chi. How do you get food in Bulle? So are there any food outlets, and how are the rooms in Bulle?
Yeah, so we have 2 food outlets. We have the AC, which is the academic center, and then we also have the hub, which is currently closed due to COVID. And then the rooms wise, I used to live on campus. I'm now off campus, which typically a lot of students tend to go off campus in the masters. Half of us went off campus, but I think it's also under special circumstances. I lived in one of the buildings. The rooms are great. I had a single, but I had friends who were in double rooms, and we also have a kitchen with a big living area to do activities. There's ping pong tables, so it's really nice living spaces. So I would recommend it, yes.
Thank you. This question was from Nicole. Nicole, I won't reply regarding the scholarship and application deadlines. As mentioned earlier, we don't have a counselor on the line with us today. So if you are not in touch with a counselor already, please go onto our website and fill a contact form. Move on to the next question. Is it better to have some previous job experience before starting the master?
Pretima.
No, not necessarily. And I think, as I said, we have a real mixture of students that come to this program. So we've got students that come from a hospitality background. I think what Jackie mentioned earlier, that if what we're doing is these master's programs leading towards leadership roles. So if you're coming in and you're from a non-hospitality, it's always good to get a little bit of operational experience, but you can actually get that through your internship anyway. So in terms of, do you need work experience before you come? It's not a prerequisite, but what we tend to find at master's level as well, sometimes students have maybe worked for a part-time job or a year or so as well. So it's not a prerequisite.
Thank you, Pretima. Another question for Jackie. Can we do an internship in 2 different hotels or 2 different companies?
Normally, we like you to do a 24-week internship within the same company. That is the rule, and the reason for that is it always takes a little while to get into a job and into a company and to understand it. In order to get the maximum out of it, we prefer you to stay in one company so that you're not having that kind of like that insertion period twice. Imagine you have 2-3 month internships, you just about get to know the procedures, the colleagues, everything you're meant to do, and you stop and you go start somewhere else and you have to start all over again. So in order to get the maximum learning experience, we prefer it to be within one company. The other reason is that during those 6 months, maybe you will see already some progression within the role, and that you will be given additional responsibilities during that time, rather than having to start to prove yourself all over again in a different company. At master level, what we also hope in many cases is that when you're doing an internship, a 6-month internship, you're doing really well with the company and they propose you a job at the end of it. So in order to put the maximum chances on your side, we really like you to stay within one company. That said, one of the measures that we've had in place over the past few months, given the situation, given the fact that internships have been cut short, we have been accepting students doing internships in different companies, or in 2 different companies. We have.
Okay, last question, and we'll have to close this session. Are there any particular computer skills required to be successful in this program?
I would not, right, I wouldn't say in terms of computer skills. I would say what is important for students to have, and I think maybe Thomas and Chi can probably back me on this, is a basic understanding of accounting. I always stress you do not need to be experts. And I think what is also useful for students is to have a little bit of background about Excel as well, because I think you're using that in revenue management, but we're not expecting experts. I think Chi, Thomas, apart from that, computer skills. I'm not sure if you agree or if there's anything else you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, sorry, I fully agree with you. And you don't need to have to be fully skilled in Google, in Excel, Word, or PowerPoint, but just need to know the basics. And after, you can learn also with your classmates directly with group meetings, or also with your teachers. They can help you, and then you will improve step by step.
Yeah, and I think also, even if you don't have with like accounting, for example, there's still the opportunity to learn quickly, and the professors are very aware that everybody comes from different backgrounds and have done different things. So either way, there's still always opportunity to be on the right track and be on the same level as everybody else.
Thank you. It's time to close this session, unfortunately. I hope we answered most of your questions. If not, I invite you to go onto our website, glion.edu. It's on your screen. You can ever download the brochure, fill a contact form. There is also an ambassador page. So if you go to one of the campus page, there will be a tab called Ambassador Program, and you can find the details of all of our ambassadors across all campuses. For example, Thomas is on the list, so you can get in touch directly with them and ask all your questions. The recording of this session will be available on YouTube shortly, so you are more than welcome to go on YouTube to watch it again. Thank you very much to everyone on the line today, and especially our panel, Pretima, Jacquie, Chi, and Thomas.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Bye.